I count that a little too fast for you guys there?
Nah, I'm good.
That was
I'm
perfect.
good. That's excellent.
I realized how it was like. Usually it's like 3, 2, 1, go, but it was like double speed this week.
Fast is good. If you're too slow, like Jason was at one time, then we have a problem.
You would think after
the thing was Jason went like 3, 2, 1.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, no, I
started slowing down.
I manipulated time, so it was not constant. Yeah, which you would think after between quarantine and regular, after 240 episodes of our podcast, I would know not to count down inconsistently. But here we are, 9 years later. I'm still doing it.
No, it was. Was it no 234 plus 8?
235 plus 8.
242 episodes.
Yep.
Did I do my math right?
I think so.
I don't know why Denny just came into mind. But anyways, welcome to Quarantine Chronicles, episode 8. I am your host, Kevin. To my virtual left, Jason.
Hello.
To my virtual right, Angel.
Hello.
And we have a show for you.
Do we?
We are going to. We do, because we are going to have the Wheel of Fate decide how we're going to do our topics today. Oh, hold on. I got to play the wheel changes.
Jason's worst nightmare. How can you make a transition when you don't even know what you're transitioning to?
Challenge accepted, Angel. Challenge accepted.
Technically, does the wheel count as a transition?
The wheel is the transition.
Wheel.
Well, the wheel is
like
a transition.
It's more like a hard cut.
But it is also a transition, and we've used it.
A hard cut is technically a transition.
True. Anything that literally transitions, whether good or bad, is a transition.
Jason likes a synergetic transition, is what I'm saying.
I do love me my synergetic transitions, but yeah, we did a grab bag thing on the normal around Nintendo once or twice that worked pretty well. So I am familiar with the concept of not overreaching with my weak transitions. So I think I'll persevere personally through this.
Yeah. So, do you guys want to get into it? How was your guys' week, first of all?
It was pretty good.
I don't know about you guys, but like weeks for me feel like hours. Like entire weeks feel like hours. Like I don't know if it's because I'm just enjoying, like, work has been going well. Like everything is just, I just feel so busy. Everything is just, I don't know, like I can't believe it's already Friday. Like let me put it that way. By the time
you're actually physically going to work though, right? You're not working from home?
Yeah, so I am driving to work. Like my work from home station is at my sister's house, which it's really nice. Cause
you're not. You're not actually going to
the studio.
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh no. Yeah, we were sent home like a while ago, but yeah, like it's just nice having a commute. Like I get a nice separation from like work and home, and I still get to develop a routine. Like I literally have everything set up so that even if when we do go back, we'll get to pretty much still continue. I'll still get to continue this routine without any kind of interruption. Like I make sure I wake up early.
Just way more traffic.
Yeah, that's the only thing. So like I still like account for that in the time I wake up and when I leave and all that stuff. That way, even when we do go back, the traffic won't cause me to have to wake up a little earlier or leave a little earlier, that kind of stuff.
Do you have, because I'm also in the same boat as you, Angel, where like I mean my commute is 10 seconds down my hallway, so it's not quite the same, but like I've gotten into a routine where like I'm actually like I'm so used to this now that honestly the most like quarantine-y, lockdown, work from home, be at home thing I have felt was us doing that sync up at the start of this episode, make sure we were all remotely recording at the same time. Like besides that, everything's kind of normal now. It feels like this is just a thing. But do you get the feeling like now that you're getting used to this? I feel like Kevin, since you say time's going so slow for you, probably not. But Angel, do you get the feeling now that like when it's time to go back, there's almost like a weird anxiousness of like what's that gonna be like going back to the old routine, going back where you're not just like doing things kind of at your pace, but you're like stuck in traffic, or you're, you know, in an office with other people, or I'm not saying it's a bad anxious, but they're just kind of like it has like a foreignness to it. Well, it used to be the at home part felt foreign. Like it's been so long, it kind of like flipped. Do you feel that at all?
No, because since I still have the commute, it still feels like I'm going to an office, and everything still feels honestly kind of the same. Like, the only thing that I'm kind of missing is just the nice amenities, and I guess walking over to talk to someone is supposed to just sending them a message.
I do miss
So,
snacks. I miss having snacks in the office. Obviously, there's snacks at home, but me or my family pays for those snacks. In the office, they're free. So, so I do miss that. But no, it is weird because, like, for the most part, I feel like I've gotten so used to this that the idea of, like, having to go to the office and be at a desk where people can just come up to me at any time and kind of interrupt and, like, not hope my employer's not listening, not being able to, like, constantly be checking Twitter, like, all that's I've gotten so used to that now. That's gonna be weird going back to the other way around, Yeah, but I mean, how's it for you, Kevin? Because you're saying that time is not going slow for you or going fast for you.
Oh man, it's just, I don't know, just days bleed into the next. It's just really bad in general. It just,
I found that, and I know on some level you do it, but I have found that having, like, routine virtual get-together, stuff like the podcast we do, or like Angel and I have a couple game nights we do, like, with different people throughout the week, like, that actually really helps to give the structure and not have it, like, bleed as much. Because just being like, oh yeah, today's Wednesday, it's this game night, I get to hang out with these people virtually. Okay, it's, Friday or Saturday, we're recording this show. Like, that structure has really helped keep things sane for me, especially at the peak of quarantine where I wasn't going anywhere. Well, now I'm sort of going places a little, barely, but a little.
Yeah, but like, unfortunately for me, work is very chaotic when it comes to scheduling me.
True.
So that's what keeps me from having too much of a
right.
Of a,
I could see that really messing with something, because I mean, the consistency, I would say, is what really, really is helping.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I don't even really mean the word helping, just making all these weeks just fly by.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like it's like Monday when the day starts, and then by the end of the day, it's like, wow, it's already Thursday. Jeez.
I mean, mine's not moving that fast, but it's, it's moving.
But to be fair, I mean, I do kind of have, like, my week scheduled, like, kind of to the hour sometimes. So, like,
your calendar. Every time that we would go over, you'd have a full month calendar laid out.
Yeah, and it helps just to have a bunch of activities. Like Friday, like I've mentioned before on the podcast, we have, like, my movie nights where we watch a movie we've never seen before. Like today, for example, being Bill and Ted. Wednesdays, Jason and some other friends of the podcast, actually.
One of them has been on the podcast.
Yeah. We play Splatoon and sometimes Rocket League and some other games, like, every Wednesday. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like a little... Yeah, it's like a little Switch get together, kind of like to see how they're doing. And it's funny because, like, one of them lives in Texas, another one lives in Simi Valley, another one now lives in Long Beach. We're all
what's funny about that is, like, I feel like those guys, like, I don't know if here's another thing that I don't know if you guys have experience with the quarantine. Have you found that people that you maybe didn't hang out with as much in real life, now that you're all kind of at home, you're seeing, like, we're hanging out with our friend in Texas virtually way more. The guy that lives in the Valley, like, he's not that far from us. The Valley's not that far, but still, like, we would see him maybe a couple times a year. Now we're playing games with him weekly. We have on Monday nights, there's a Twitter friend of ours who we play Torchlight 2 with on Switch now. And that's someone, like, we'd see once a year at most when he visited LA. Like, have you noticed that, like, kind of people that were distant are now closer in a weird way? And in some cases, people that are closer now almost feel more distant?
Yeah. There's a little bit of both, for sure. Definitely a lot of just seeing... I guess my regulars that I've wanted to have more regular are becoming just that.
Yeah.
Like before, like that friend that we mentioned that lives in Texas, like I used to play games with him maybe like once a month or once every 2 weeks, but now it's literally every single week. Actually, it's been, for the last couple months, it's actually been twice a week, like every Wednesday and Saturday evening. But Saturday evenings sometimes involve a bigger group, so...
And that was fun. That's something I almost missed from the very, very, very beginning of quarantine. If it's possible to find a silver lining in the pandemic and miss something, it was knowing in those first 6 weeks, let's say, that everyone was at home and everyone was kind of free, and we were able to do like Zoom or one of those sort of video based platforms, like 12 of us all together, all playing like a Pictionary or a Cards Against Humanity type of game or something like that. And it is like literally the full group. Like, it's very rare, I feel like, if you have a big group, you mix and match who you see in it, but you have everyone be part of something is like, that was kind of cool, knowing that at least for that sliver of time, in the worst of circumstances, there was that silver line that, like, we collectively could have all our friends all participating in the same thing at once. We could all be having a drink and playing some games, and sure, we were remote, but like it's very rare that we can get the whole band together, and that was kind of nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only downside is that now it's hard to find time to schedule in for other things.
Yeah.
Or at least like other groups of friends that I used to see way more often, but now because I feel like I have something practically every single day of the week, now it's like, oh, I guess I'm gonna have to move this around, or yeah, pretty much what you said earlier. That like some people are now becoming a little more distant.
Right.
At least with get-togethers, like I'm still obviously keeping in touch with them.
Right. Yeah. Same.
At a more usual basis.
It is funny though, because like kind of the expectations that come with it, like the social expectations of like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't, I'm busy. Like it's a lot harder to say I'm busy now because everyone knows you're just at home. So like, what's your excuse besides I don't want to? And more to the point, there probably shouldn't be a stigma around someone just being like, I don't want to do anything tonight. Like I'm good, but you know, of course, everyone's like, but you're home. I know you're home.
Jason.
I know.
Sometimes
I give you a hard time
don't
about it, but it's made me realize that like perhaps I should ease up on you about that in general. That was before COVID that I mostly did that to you. You'd be like, oh, I just don't want to do anything. I'm like, why? But we're all here, and I was super naggy about it. But now I get it from the other side. I get it. And I apologize on record, Angel.
Look at that.
Yeah.
This podcast bringing us together.
I know. What friends?
Yeah. On that note, let's get to it. And for the first time ever since the inception of this podcast, I believe, in the blog post, we have timestamps. The first time that I say that at the beginning.
I thought you were going to say it's the first time we have timestamps. Like, well, I don't know about that. But yes, you are actually saying it when it's relevant. So that's good.
Yep. 12 minutes in.
Yep.
So, okay, dude. It counts.
Hey, 12 minutes is better than 120 minutes.
It's before we actually got to the topic. So I'm gonna count that as a win.
I count it as a win as well,
part.
Kevin. I got you on this one.
All right. All right. So, like I said earlier, we have the Wheel of Fate to decide our topics. We got 6 of them on the docket, or I guess technically on the wheel. So let's spin this. Were you gonna say something?
Oh no, I was just laughing.
Oh no, I thought Jason was.
No, I was chortling over here.
When doesn't he?
Oh, no, I like a good chortle. All right, let's click to spin, and it sounds empty on your side, but okay, we got.
Are we gonna insert a sound effect there, or are we just all gonna silently be like, it's spinning?
We'll see.
Okay. So, audience, you tell me what ended up happening. I don't edit this.
Yeah, exactly. Tell them in the next episode of Random.
Yeah, or you know, tweet me. Just tweet me at JSR7 with a yes or no, and I'll know the context.
It's gonna be Random Nintendo 4D. We're gonna send everyone a little baggie with things to spin or watch or smell
scratch
at
and
a certain
sniff.
point.
Scratch
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Oh god, scratch and sniff of us.
Yeah.
Anyway, what's our topic?
I don't know how you pronounce it. Sarazanmai?
Oh yeah,
That sounds like an angel topic. Is that an angel topic?
it is.
Topic.
Yeah.
Yep, it is an anime. Can you believe that?
We like anime around here.
We do. This is a very anime friendly zone, except for Jason. He seems to.
I don't dislike anime.
Yeah.
I'm just neutral. I'm anime neutral. Yeah.
He thought, like, just give me Pokemon and I'll be
Exactly.
good.
I'm gonna see how many times I can work Pokemon in that actually is relevant to the conversation because that's all I can do.
That's obviously an anime, but I feel like it's so It's not even westernized.
Card captors. I'll figure out a card captor
It's
reference.
so imbued in the Western culture that I feel like it almost doesn't count as like an anime. If someone says, "Oh, I watch anime. I watch Pokemon," it's like, no, you were like, that's just Channel 5.
Well, yeah, that's like I read books. I read Harry Potter, which, to be clear, is the most of book reading I do.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when we mean do you watch anime, we mean do you go out of your way to watch anime?
I went so out of my way to watch Pokemon.
No kid went out of their way to watch Pokemon, but anyway, so yeah, Sarazanmai. So as you guys know, for the past couple of weeks, I have been kind of indulging myself in a lot of slice of life shows. I remember saying that I needed a break from like the more fantastical side of things, but I decided I now needed a break from the slice of life kind of stuff. And I say that as I'm on episode 74 of a 99 episode long slice of life anime, but that's beside the point. That's only because I already started it, which is really, really great, by the way. definitely talk about that one in the future. But I just needed something weird. I needed something to remind me, like, what is anime? Like, how weird can anime get? Something that you can only really find in anime. And I think I succeeded a little too well. So, in a nutshell, this animal, well, it is like, this beast of an anime. It's only 11 episodes, but it's essentially about the balance between desire and love. That's like kind of like what the focus is. Like, desire is something that everyone has. It's typically portrayed as something evil, but it's a monster of the week. That's like the format. Every week there's a new monster. The heroes have to fight. They take it down, and then it just kind of rinses and repeat. Now, that's kind of what you get from it. Especially what I mentioned about at its core, it's about like desires and love. Like, that's kind of what you get from it if you're kind of paying attention. If you're just watching it casually, you're going to be confused beyond belief and definitely disgusted, confused, and maybe angry. It's the kind of show that, like, if someone walked in on you watching that, I don't know what they would think. But
can I object? Can I butt in real quick? You called it an anime, and you're saying you're getting tired of normal anime, and you're getting tired of slice of life anime. And you're trying to find this other type of anime. Are you subtly saying this is hentai?
No, you didn't.
It seems like you perfectly
maybe it wasn't clear earlier, but I needed a break from fantastical style anime, so I went to slice of life.
Mm-hmm.
Now I needed a break from slice of life, so I went back to fantastical. I wanted to find something
like adult fantasy, like hentai.
No, just back to what I used to watch.
I know. It's just everything you're saying is like setting it up to be like, and then there were tentacles. So
no, this is not a hentai.
Okay.
This is I don't know if it's. I mean, I guess it's for your typical anime age. It's like young adult, I guess. I mean, it's definitely not for kids, I'll tell you that, even though it looks like, if you look at promo art for it, it looks like a show for little kids, just because of the characters. But, in a nutshell, let me just give you the basic premise. So, three boys break a kappa statue. In case you don't know what a kappa is, it's like a Japanese folklore creature. It looks kind of like a frog with a beak and a lily pad on its head.
It's Kapp'n from Animal Crossing for those on the Nintendo side of the spectrum.
There you go. Oh yeah, he is a kappa.
Yeah, he's Kappa-in.
So,
see, it's Kappa-in. It's a pun.
Yeah. So there are these three kids. They're having some arguments, and then they run into the statue of a kappa that falls over and breaks, releasing the kappa prince. And they call him a frog. It gets mad at them, and it decides to eat them ass first, and then it does a dance where it then wears it then lets itself get worn by the kids as like a skin suit. It does some weird kind of dance, and then it extracts the desire from a gland in their anus, and that's kind of portrayed in a silhouette.
Sorry, you said this was not hentai.
No, it's done.
Okay.
I don't want to say the word tastefully.
There's ass eating in this show.
But it's for young adults, not children, but young adults.
It's literal, but I feel like I have to show you a clip later. But yeah, so this is like the transformation sequence, like the Sailor Moon transformation into her superpower mode. Like the kid, this is how they turn to their by getting eaten by some kappa demon, getting worn as a skin suit, and then getting pinned to like a goopy wall kind of thing, and then they're like, I guess, desire orb gets sucked out of them.
Okay, a few things. One, I need to ask a fifth time. Are you sure this is not hentai? And two, I retract Kapp'n being a reference I made, because I feel horrible associating Animal Crossing with anything close to this.
So, after this transformation sequence, then they all look like pretty much your typical like Japanese, like, cute design for a kappa. It's just like, they still kind of look like the three, well, they're kappas, but now they just have like a wig that matches the kid they were before. And if they wore glasses, now they have glasses. So that's how you tell them apart. So then they ride on a rickshaw being carried by the frog prince as they get debriefed on the current demon that they have to vanquish. And the demon is always something, I guess, desire related. Like in one episode, a bunch of soccer balls were getting abducted by these ghost things, and the demon was, I guess, absorbing all these soccer balls because I guess their desire, I guess, is just they're pretty much masochistic, and they just want their girlfriend to just kick them in the balls over and over again. And I guess treat them
again. This is a normal anime.
Oh god,
it's funny because this is all portrayed in very like kind of cutesy, simplistic art style. It's a very, I mean, I just it's a very weird show. And then
I love that this is our lead for this episode. Like,
so when they confront the monster, they then bust into song, and as they're singing the song and like I guess rhyming to it, they do battle. Then they enter like a formation. They shoot like a giant gust of water. They end up behind the monster, and I think you know where this is going. So they now do another formation, and they kind of like rocket themselves. I guess up the monster's butt and grab the desired orb from the monster, and then they yank it out, and there's like water gushing everywhere, and then they go into like this water cylindrical inside of a wave kind of deal as they turn back into kids as they're like riding it like surfers without surfboards.
And then they turn back into kids. You're gonna get arrested for watching this.
And then as they turn back into
you realize that, right? You're gonna like there will be a knock on the door by the time you're done recording this.
Is this on Crunchyroll?
Yes, it's on Crunchyroll.
Oh man! All right, well.
Is this like some new virtual version?
They just won themselves a subscription.
just watch one episode, and you'll get the gist. But essentially, inside the tunnel, they turn back into their human form, naked for some reason. And then,
some reason. Oh, okay.
Well, I don't know why. I mean, at this point, I guess that's what's to be expected. And then, for some reason, that's going to be my starter sentence for everything.
Yep.
And then for some reason, I guess like after whoever, I guess, grabbed the orb initially, then I guess gets a deep dark secret revealed about them. And they're usually in the beginning like played for laughs, but then they just kind of start getting weirder and then creepy and then just really dark. I mean, like, to give you an example, like there's like one of the first ones is like you find out that one of the kids, I guess, cross dresses, and he's been like cosplaying as some diva to, I guess, like get a bunch of followers or something like that. And then later on, I guess when you find out another secret, you found that this kid has been obsessed with this other kid, and he's been like sneaking into his classroom and grabbing his recorder and I guess kissing it or playing it. And yeah, it gets weird. And then later you find another kid like literally just straight up killed a man. Like that was his secret. He just straight up like shot someone with a gun. Yeah, and
you just went from one secret is he kisses a recorder, and the next one he murders someone. That's a very big range of secrets.
Yeah, like there's definitely a tonal shift, and it's just a very weird show. It definitely like it gave me like a nice hard reset on like, okay, that's definitely an extreme. Like I think I've hit like the extreme side of what anime can be, at least on as extreme as it can get, without it being. I feel like if it had pushed any further, it probably would have been considered a hentai. But everything, for lack of a better term, is done.
I still think it might be.
In a tasteful way.
I still think it might be.
I don't think you know what a hentai is. Then.
No, I'm just saying it because it sounds insane.
Yeah, and I mean something really interesting about the show is that the production values for the show are really, really good. Like it almost looks like you're watching like an anime film, like something with like a film budget. Do I know who? What?
Do you know who the studio is, the animation studio?
Oh, man. I forgot the name, but their title logo, like, it looks like something that was animated by Studio Ghibli. Like, they apparently, like, just do really, really nice work. But you could tell, like, I guess how they get away with it, because literally every single character, except for the main characters, which there are, like, maybe 6 of them, they're literally just, like, flat... I guess, like, you know, like in Portal, the silhouette people, like, they're literally all silhouettes of, like, you know, I guess, like, warning signs. So, like, when you ever see crowd shots, it's just a bunch of, like, the exact same silhouette over and over again. They're not even, like, different silhouettes. They're just the same silhouette, copy-pasted. Whenever you see, like, a room full of cops, it's just a bunch of those silhouettes, but with cop hats. Mm-hmm. Like, but, yeah, you could tell, like, they definitely save everything for I guess if you want to call them action scenes.
For the detailed animations of reaching up someone's butt to grab their desire orb.
Oh, they don't reach up in there. They straight up dive into it.
I'm sorry. When they fully plunge into someone.
There you go. And and there's also, I mean, I guess I forgot to mention, like the main villain of the show is like a deep voiced otter who's just like a silhouette of an otter.
Okay, now you have
but
my
it looks
attention.
evil.
I'm on board with the otter.
And it speaks in otter puns. Like every other word that he says, like, oh, you're like, oh, you guys are utterly hopeless. Like you think that, but a lot.
Oh no,
that got me. Everything else, nope, that right there, I'm in. That's all it took. Puns.
Yeah.
So puns and animals.
I mean, it's weird. Like, I don't dislike it. Like, I see what it's going for. Like, it definitely has. It's easily one of those animes that could be interpreted in so many different ways. But I feel like get what it's trying to go for, and did it succeed? It's like, maybe not. I don't know. It was just weird. But I mean, I guess I did get what I wanted. I wanted just to see, like, I wanted to pretty much say, like what the heck did I just watch? And I think I got that and more. Because, I mean, it's not every day that you see, like a show like this. I feel like it almost topped every kind of, I don't know, like, Western culture has a lot of, like, especially right now, like in the last 10 years, they've developed a lot of cartoons that are very random humor, like random, LOL, trendy, like just being random to be random kind of humor. Like a lot of those cartoons just kind of have that. Like Teen Titans Go is a good example of that. The new Powerpuff Girls tried to do a lot of that. It's almost like they're trying to be living memes, but they end up just kind of being weird sometimes, like weird to the point where you're just kind of like, huh, like why did that happen? Mm-hmm. And I don't know, it doesn't sometimes it ends up not being funny or anything. You just get, it's just weird. Like it feels like they're trying too hard to be weird. But this show disgusts you. But you see, like, everything has a point to it. It's weird, but it has a point, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It's like controlled weirdness, but also you're never seeing it coming. But yeah, that's Sarazanmai. Definitely got a recoil after that. The other shows I've seen, I've definitely won't ever compare to that.
I
watch it. But yeah, if you're ever curious, I'll make you watch the first episode at some point.
We gotta watch the first episode at some point.
Yeah,
honestly, seriously. Like, because it is very formulaic up until like the last few. So if you watch the first episode, you pretty much get the gist of the rest of them, like a good majority of them, because they're like almost identical, like the same beats they go through. Maybe just watch the first two, but because there's also these two cops that have this really weird dance number that I can only describe as they're being very sensual with each other, but they're also like stopping criminals, and then one pulls out the other's heart, and it's like a ballet, and it's weird.
So it's Elite Beat Agents, in a way.
Kinda, yeah. It's weird. It's a really weird show, but it's a thinker, I guess. You could put it that way.
So it's not. Like it's not
the show that we watch.
Yeah, it sounds like it's a thinker, not in a thought-provoking way. You really have to think about what is, like, you need to process what is happening in front of you, type of way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like you have to watch it again and be like, oh, okay, that makes more sense. But yeah, because there's a lot of stuff that also just over time it gets explained. But initially, it just comes off as extremely weird and out of nowhere. But a lot of things do like tie up nicely, but still, you're still left with a lot of questions and like, wait, did this actually happen? Do people acknowledge this? Did anyone see that like Godzilla-sized otter like ravaging the city? I was like, I don't know. This was one of those shows.
All right, that definitely has to be the first show that we watch when we come back from quarantine. Like,
yes,
oh yeah,
yes,
like after
100%,
absolutely.
Whenever that is,
2028.
Oh God, please let it be soon. I need human interaction. All right, nice. Back to the wheel, and here we go. It's spinning for you guys.
I'm so glad we have this wheel, because there's no way we can go from that show to any other topic without it.
Yeah, to an ass-eating anime to the Killers Imploding the Mirage would be, interesting.
Yeah. Well, depending on your opinion of the album, I'm sure you can draw a line between the two. But yeah. So so it came out today, the day we're recording this, Friday.
Yeah.
It was supposed to come out in longtime listeners of Quarantine Chronicles, all 8 of them, may recall one of the very early ones we talked about the lead single, Caution. and our expectations for the album. At the time, the album was supposed to be out like 3 weeks later, and then it got delayed, and now it's finally out. And yeah, I think Kevin, you've heard it, right? And I've listened to it.
Yeah, I heard it. I've heard it once. I heard it while I was at work today.
I've heard it twice. So
Okay.
I've read Kevin's impressions on Twitter.
all right. So what did you think on that first listen, Kevin?
I think this is the Killers' worst album.
Wow,
by a long
coming in
shot.
hot.
Coming hot, and I didn't really like their fourth album, Battleborn, and this one I just straight up dislike completely.
Like all of it?
No, not all of it, but it definitely has, to me, their weakest songs. I need to bring up the track list.
Well, what's interesting is like they, this is actually their most, in terms of like the reviews, this is their highest Metacritic rating of any album they put out recently.
Yeah,
in the
Which
last
blows
decade,
my mind.
right?
I mean, I was gonna say like you clearly dislike it, but can you see why a lot of people would like it, or can you see like, all right, I see what they're going for and they succeeded in that, but this is not the Killers I wanted, or they just straight up sucked and everyone else is just done.
Yeah, what is it that you?
No, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know how this is their most positive
You know, I think
reviewed album.
Really, more than Room on Fire?
wrong band.
That's the Strokes.
Oh god,
I think you did this last time too.
Yeah, no.
I know they did Mr. Brightside, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank God. All right. I wasn't 100% sure.
Yeah, but they. I think, Kevin, to your point, I think part of the reason it's getting so well reviewed is whatever direction they decide to go in here. Which to me, it's weird because it's like I like all the singles a lot. There's like 4 or 5 songs that are released ahead of time. Not all of them, but I like the majority of them. And then the rest, I'm kind of like, oh, it's there. Kind of sounds like they're trying to do a Bruce Springsteen impression, but it's there. But
That's exactly it. That's what I hate about it so
But,
much.
well, that's-
I
go ahead.
I'm like tired of them trying to go for this Springsteen sound. They tried it with their fourth album, and Battleborn. At this point, it's like fine, it's okay with me. Their last album, kind of
Wonderful.
Wonderful, kind of went back to a less Springsteen direction, which I admired. It still wasn't as great as like their first 2 albums, but you know, it was starting. I felt like they were starting to evolve past that Springsteen sound that they love so much for whatever reason. And then they released this album, like, nope, this is just straight up a Springsteen album with some synthesizers.
So I think that weirdly that's partly why it might be getting so many good reviews. Not because it's straight up a Springsteen album with synthesizers, but like to me at least sonically, it does feel more cohesive than some of their other ones, like Wonderful Wonderful. Like I like Wonderful Wonderful and How All Over the Map, like The Man versus like some of the other stuff on there are like complete polar opposites.
Yeah.
But this one I think like there's alternating styles within the songs. There's some that are more like killery and more rockish, and there's some that are a little more like these Springsteen-ish slow ballad things, but with some synths. But I think like the instrumentation, the vibe, the aesthetic, like all of that does feel cut from the same cloth in it to me, to the point where like even a song that I really didn't like I don't know if you remember when we talked about Caution, they had a second single called I think it was Fire to Bone or Fire and Bone or something.
Fire and Bone.
Yeah, and that one at the time I thought I'm like, what is this? This is like I made the crack about the Killer cycle. Like the first song's good, the second song's bad, you don't know what to think of the album, and then the album comes out and it disappoints. This like Fire and Bone in the context of the album, I weirdly don't mind. I don't like it per se. Like it's still not a fave, but it's
stuck out like a sore thumb.
Really, I felt like it
compared
fit to
the
me
rest
a
of the
little.
album. Because it's like, here's a bunch of Springsteen, and then now we're just gonna throw in some Talking Heads.
Okay, yeah, actually, we put it that way because see where you're coming from. But yeah, there was, I don't know, just to me, something about, I don't really know. Maybe it's the fact that they don't have a guitarist anymore, so like there's not like random guitars flying around. Not that I would personally prefer that, but there is like, because they're so heavy on the synth, I feel like it felt more like a whole package, and I think that's what people are resonating with. Because if they do like that Springsteen direction it's going in, it's that with some like killer flourishes, essentially, like the 3 singles or whatever, or maybe not even singles, but like Caution and My Own Soul's Warning and the back half of Dying Breed after it builds up forever. Like those.
Oh yeah,
have,
that retakes forever.
But once it
going.
hits that build up spot, I really like that. After that 2 minute like lull going into it, I do really like that tail end. And like those three songs feel very killery, but they're kind of through this lens of whatever this new Springsteen thing they're on is. So I think that might be why it's resonating, or that might be why it's being well reviewed, because it is cohesive, even if it's not what we necessarily want it to be. If that makes sense.
Oh man,
that's my take at least. Off two listens.
No, and it's totally valid. It's just me. I'm just tired of them trying to be Springsteen.
Yeah.
Especially like at the I forgot what song. I think it was the last song off Wonderful, when he actually like name dropped Springsteen.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
I think
get over yourself, Brandon. It's.
I think that was the last song. It's have all the songs been written? I just looked it up on my phone.
Yeah.
I mean, and that was a weird album because they also had that random song about Tyson versus Douglas, like the boxing song.
That song I like.
I liked the song, but thematically, like, what was it doing there? Like, it didn't. Like, it's just like he's, they're talking about like, he's the man, he's this bravado guy. That's one song. They're talking about like he hasn't like have all songs written, et cetera, et cetera. And it's just like also when I was a kid, there was this boxing match once. Which is fine, but it didn't really like fit,
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, but I think, yeah, and there's some weird stuff. Like you make the point about Fire and Bone kind of being Talking Heads ish. With now that you mentioned it, I'm always gonna make that association. But also, like, they have a song called "My God," and the second half of it. First of all, the second half of this album gets a little like it skirts up on being kind of Jesus-y. Like, there's definitely some. Which makes sense. I think he's a Latter-day Saint or whatever, and that's it's fair game.
Yeah, he's Mormon.
Yeah, but so like that's that's fine. But like there's a song literally called "My God," and the second half of it, like I swear every time the 2 times I've listened, it sounds straight up like that song from Robot Unicorn Attack, like the song that they use.
Oh, Always.
Yeah, Always by who's it by? Eraser or something like that.
Eraser.
Yeah, but like that song. Like, there's something to do with the note progression. I think it's I think there's a guest vocalist on it. I think it's that person who's doing it, but it's just like, I can't not associate the two now. And that's, on a Killers album, a little out of place sounding, yeah. So I do kind of see where you're coming from. And, I don't know, I think my thing with the Killers, in general, and this kind of goes back to the Killers cycle, is like, they always felt like they were 2 bands in one. Like, there was like...
I don't agree with that.
You do or don't?
I do not.
Oh, okay. Well, okay, cool. No, but like
to say that Linkin Park is like
no. But what I mean is like to me,
they keep changing. I mean, Linkin Park, I guess the most modern version of Linkin Park definitely wasn't what early Linkin Park was, and it definitely wasn't what they were in college.
Well, it's
almost like they just became a different band. They just had the same people.
Yeah, and the Killers have that sort of path, but what I feel like I noticed is, and maybe I guess I'm crazy because Kevin, that was a hard no, but like I've noticed that they either do kind of like more rock stuff or they kind of do more mellow, almost more like dancey beat stuff.
Sure.
And then there's like they always do one of those 2 branches. Like Linkin Park, yeah, they evolved like some crazy way where what's on Hybrid Theory sounds nothing like One More Light. To the point that it's actually kind of funny they're doing a 20th anniversary for Hybrid Theory. Really cool, actually. Let's get back at 200.
Wait, but Chester's not around.
Well, yeah, but they're doing a re-release with unreleased demos. And hearing those unreleased demos, I'm almost like, what? This isn't the Linkin Park I know. Even though it is literally the Linkin Park that got me to the Linkin Park of today. But it sounds so like it's so like whiplashy from modern Linkin Park that it like took me a minute to be like, oh yeah, this is what they used to be. But I feel like the Killers are always kind of staying on that one of those 2 paths. And they kind of bounce between those 2 paths, but they don't really like go past those 2 paths or combine those 2 paths. It's always like one or the other.
So I can kind of agree. Yeah, okay, so like Hot Fuss, was like their dancey, was like dance rock. Sam's Sound was definitely more rock.
Yeah.
And that's where they definitely wanted to sound like Springsteen. But at least those songs are all like the songs on Sam's Sound's banners. And Sam's Sound got unjustly thrashed by like the media.
Well, Sam's Town was like a grower. Like I feel like Hot Fuss, like you listen Hot Fuss, you listen to it, and it's just like instant, like every single song, even stuff like the slower stuff, like and there was some differences in like Midnight Show and Jenny was a friend of mine and all that, but they still like all were cohesively one thing, and they were all like super catchy, and they had really good hooks, and they were just really like you were just right there. And like Samstown was definitely more of a you had to listen to it a few times and kind of get in the groove of it. Minus When You Were Young, which is basically like a B side of Hot Fuss unofficially. Yeah. But
When You Were Young.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that one.
And then Day and Age was definitely a more dance rock.
Yes, totally.
Going a little bit back to the Hot Fuss sound. But Battleborn and Beyond has just been nothing but Springsteen.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, Battleborn did not resonate with me at all.
I've been Battleborn. I do not remember the last time that I listened to it.
It's an okay game.
Like back to back.
It's an okay game.
No, it is not.
It's not an okay game either.
All right, it's not. An
Just
okay
don't
game.
name your king Battleborn.
Tried to make that a thing with us, and I refused.
The fact is, if you're called Battleborn, you're just setting yourself up for failure. Simple as that.
Yeah, exactly. And then
Anything like to Overwatch is setting yourself up for failure. Even if they're different types of games.
Look at him trying to hijack our killer conversation.
It's funny, Battleborn came out the same day, or I bought it the same day that I bought Borderlands 2.
Wait, are we talking about the game or the album at this point? I'm actually...
The album.
Oh, okay. I was like, I'm actually legitimately lost.
I vaguely remember picking up the Battleborn album and picking up Borderlands 2 at a GameStop, which is weird because then Gearbox would then make Battleborn the game. Maybe that's where they got the idea. But yeah, like these last 3 albums, I'm just so tired of the Springsteen sound.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they have to try to recreate Hot Fuss, because that album itself is almost like lightning in a bottle.
Oh, totally.
But like just maybe Day and Age. Like Day and Age, I think has also been unfairly maligned. I love Day and Age so much. Their first 3 albums I love completely, but these I guess that you would call them, to me these are the original trilogy.
Yeah.
Of Star Wars.
Oh, I see where you're going. Yeah. I think
I don't know, dude.
I think it's partly
so disappointing. I'm so mad.
I think they somewhat gave up on, like, not gave up, but I think on some level. I mean, it's funny because, like, I'm on the same page as you. Like, I wish they did their old stuff. But then it drives me crazy when people are like, I wish Linkin Park stuck to nu metal. I'm like, no, I'm glad they evolved. Like, I know your stance on it, but I love Thousand Suns, which is when they started doing more electronic stuff. And, like, that's my favorite album theirs. And, like, everything after that is just, like the kind of popcorn, like rapid fire, like, songs of, like, Living Things I thought was really good. Like, One More Light was them going full pop. I mean, I liked it for what it was, and I'm a total fanboy, so of course I did, but, like, I can see why people wouldn't. But, like, I never, like, everyone's like, oh, I wish they'd do nu metal again. I'm like, nah, they're past that. It's never gonna happen. But then with the Killers, I keep going, like, why can't you just go back? Which, like, it's funny how, like, for one band, I completely understand why, and for the other band, I refuse to accept it. But it's the same basic demand. So in a way, like, you know, for all the Linkin Park people out there, like I was starting to say, they are doing a 20th anniversary thing for Hybrid Theory, which is, I can't believe it's 20 this year. Like, that's insane. Like, man, I feel old. But they're doing, like, this crazy box set with, like, it's like $200. It comes with, like, 3 vinyls and 5 CDs and 8-page art book and all this other stuff. But they're releasing a ton of unreleased songs. Some have been released through the fan club and through unofficial means, so I've had those because I'm a diehard. But, like, there's, like, 12 or so unreleased Linkin Park songs coming out that for everyone, it's like, I wish Hybrid Theory was, like, that sound was back. It will be in October on a single release, at least. So if the Killers could just put out some B-sides of Hot Fuss, that would be fine with me. Like, if they just had some old demos, just polish them, mix them, master them, put them out there.
I will wait for the 20th anniversary of Meteora instead.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, I don't know, like, it doesn't have the same milestone in a way, though, because, like, it's their second album. So they're not probably going to go quite as big, I would guess.
It's the superior album. Anyways.
Well, actually, yeah, Meteor's pretty good, but, what was I going to say?
Back to Killers. Yeah. I figured out a way of saying, I just now realized how I would have transitioned from Siren. How do you say it? How do you pronounce it?
What?
Sarazanmai?
Yeah.
Oh.
From from eating ass to sucking ass, the Killers Imploding the Mirage.
See, I told you there's a connection there.
Yeah,
I almost like coughed laughed because of that.
They were supposed to play here in LA next week before COVID happened.
Yeah, that's a bummer. Speaking of things that like COVID messed up, I was like, I was supposed to see The Weeknd a week ago, and I had the calendar alert go off, and I was like, oh yeah.
Oh, not doing that.
Instead, I had to watch him on like a bootleg stream of TikTok where he did like a virtual concert where he was animated and it was like had all these trippy visuals. It's kind of like a TikTok weekend version of Travis Scott in Fortnite. But like honestly, it is really interesting in general, like how artists are kind of adapting right now. Cause like it wasn't bad. They did some cool like interactive stuff where like they had fans like vote on things to change the backgrounds or like pick the next song or something, and they kind of simulate it by having like little people in the crowd shouting things, like little speech bubbles coming up, so it kind of had that feeling. And then they did like kind of a neat thing where like if you were like liking it, which I wasn't because I was watching a bootleg, but if you were like liking it while it was happening, like your name could appear in the background, or at one point like if you pressed the like button enough, it would like shoot like pyro off and stuff, and the pyro would have people's names attached. So it kind of captured the feeling of like a group of people collectively watching something and influencing it together, like kind of the energy in a concert where everyone's being loud and super into it, but way smaller scale. But yeah, it's very weird, and I would much rather have a real concert. But I thought it was interesting. I know that's a total random tangent, but you mentioned concerts. Made me think of it.
Yeah. I mean,
once he pops, he just can't stop.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else to add about
the Killers?
The Killers?
All I'm gonna say is there are, like I said, like
killing my love for them.
There are 3 or 4 songs in there I think are really solid. We'll see if they have longevity.
Yeah, I agree. Like Caution grew on me, but I guess that's a little bit of Stockholm syndrome because I was like, Caution was the only one that I tapped my foot to, so I guess it's good.
See, I told you. Yeah, but
I think the second track, Blowback, is like Blowback and Lightning Fields. I feel like are their worst songs.
You know what's funny is so much of the internet
to bottom.
So much of the internet is loving Blowback. So the first time I heard Blowback, I was like, yeah, no. But then when I listened to it on the second time, I was kind of like, well, why do people like it? And as its own thing, like it's not a Killers song, but it is well structured for whatever it's supposed to be. Like it is a good song, I just wouldn't call it a Killers song or put the Killers on it or have anything to do with it. But like as an independent thing, I kind of see why people are clicking with it.
I'm just done. I have no more expectations for them.
You know, it's actually kind of funny.
These guys were like my favorite band. It was their show at the Hollywood Bowl during their Day and Age tour was my first concert that I ever went to.
Oh, nice!
I've seen these guys live 3 times in support of each album. When was this supposed to release originally? It was supposed
June
to release...
or May 24th, something like that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, for all I know, I would have not gone to this concert.
Wow, that says a lot.
That's how much like I do not like this album.
Wow. Yeah.
It would have been the first one that I missed.
Interesting. You know what's funny is as we were talking about this, I got a text from my girlfriend. She's listening to it right now, and she's like, "Yeah, the whole thing sounds like Springsteen. It's 12 versions of Born to Run." So everyone's on the same page apparently.
So does that mean like when the next album comes out, assuming they have another album, are you still gonna listen to it, or you're just gonna?
Oh yeah, I'm still gonna listen to it.
It's one of those.
But I'm not expecting anything amazing. Like with their last album, the first song that they released was "The Man." I thought it was a good song.
I like
The
Man.
The Man's a good song.
I like The Man.
Like. Yeah, and then they released "Wonderful Wonderful," which has such a dope bass line. And I was like, okay, this album might be good. And then the album turned out all right, so that was fine. But like the singles leading to this album was like, whatever. And then listening to it, I just liked it even more than I thought it was going to. But I'm still gonna listen to whatever these guys put out. But it's not like I'm going to be looking forward to a new Killers album the way I used to.
It's more just you have your due diligence as a fan of the early days to see through their career. Yeah, I feel
like my first band shirt was a Killer shirt.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of musicians where like they've drifted away from what I used to like about them. But every time I put on a new release, I'm like, no, I'm gonna give it a shot. And like, the worst feeling is when an album resonates with you so much, and then the next album so little, and just like the wave of hype, and then the immediate like anvil drop of disappointment. Like it's not great.
Yeah, so I mean, at least I still have that New Strokes album to fall back on, which I still love. Even though the Killers have destroyed me.
Plus, like,
yeah, I guess
that whole era of music, Deftones just announced a new album, I believe, today.
Deftones, and then Bright Eyes, I think, releasing an album as well.
2003 is back.
Yeah, right. Cool. So that was Killers Imploding the Mirage.
Yep.
For everybody. We go back to the wheel, and here we go. And then there's a spinning wheel sound.
Maybe.
You
didn't even guarantee there would be one.
Killers Imploding the Mirage.
I mean,
all right,
isn't there a song that goes
baby.
with this? Like, Run and Run It Goes, Where It Stops Nobody Knows, something, something.
I guess.
I don't know.
It landed on Killers again. So
so what do you think of Imploding the Mirage, Kevin?
So I think this album... All right, no, hold on. Let's see. My Deca-Dence.
Oh, Deca-Dence.
Deca-Dence. Oh. Okay. My Deca-Dence. Sure.
Oh, I don't know why there's a my there. But...
Oh, wait. What? Did I mess that up? No, there's a my in the list.
Oh, no. I don't know why there is a my there. There is a my there.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't put that my there. Yeah. So, Deca-Dence. Yeah, reading it back from something that won't scare someone away from ever watching anime. This one is...
I mean, I feel like eating ass would have them gravitate towards watching anime.
I mean, I guess it depends on who... I feel like if you're going to introduce someone to anime that you're like, oh man, there's all these great shows you should watch. This is like... Sarazanmai is what you don't want to show them first, because then...
Right.
I mean, not that it gives a bad impression about anime, but it could give the wrong impression about anime.
Right.
And yeah, so this show, it starts with a premise that is very familiar to a lot of people, I feel, and it makes sense given that it's directed by the guy that directed the show Mob Psycho 100. Not so much the... I mean, he's not the guy that wrote the show, but he is the one that directed it. But so, I mean, if you love how it looks and the spectacle of it, you do see a lot of that here. And one of the main writers from Attack on Titan also writes for the show. And I feel like
pedigree.
And I feel like you could definitely see that in the show a lot. Like, mainly just in the type of combat that they do is very much Attack on Titan. But it's... So yeah, I mean, fast action. I feel like it has interesting characters. It just has the makings of a good show. But this show is still going right now, and as of now, it's only 7 episodes in. And the thing is, though, is that it's also unlike any other show I've ever seen. Have either of you watched any bit of it?
No.
Do you realize who you're asking here?
I'm being courteous.
Thank you. I have not. I have not. But thank you for asking, Angel.
So, do you know anything else about the show, Kevin, besides what I just said?
No.
All right. So,
first of all, where'd you see it?
Funimation, because it's only available through Funimation. Thank you, Kevin.
Okay. Gotcha.
By the way. Yeah. So this show... Oh, man. I guess, how do I put it? So, the first episode is a very, like, kind of by-the-book show. Not like for better or worse, but I mean...
A lot of exposition, I assume.
Yeah. Well, not a lot of exposition. Like, it actually does kind of get straight into it. I mean, you have, like, your main protagonist, it's... I forgot her name, but she... Essentially, she's the daughter of the scientist, so it might already start to sound familiar. He ends up dying pretty early on in her life, and she loses an arm as a result of, like, the attack that they were under by these monsters. And... I think they call the monsters Gadals. They're like these creatures, and she essentially grows up wanting to become a warrior. She wants to go fight and kill off these Gadals because they're threatening the survival of the human race. And the human race is pretty much all but extinct except for what's left that's inside of the Deca-Dence, which is this giant mobile fortress that moves. So I guess it's kind of like Snowpiercer because the entire human population is inside that train, right?
Yeah.
Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So it's pretty much like that. Like the entire human population is inside of this moving fortress that has its own defense mechanisms because they have to protect themselves against these giant monsters that are constantly attacking them. And there are people that train to be, medics, your typical stuff, but then there's also people that train to be warriors, and these monsters emit this anti-gravity field, and for whatever reason, I guess they're able to use that against the monsters by attaching these orbs to themselves, or like I guess these round backpacks, spherical
Are
backpacks.
the orbs hidden in the deep anus of?
No, they're just worn like a typical backpack,
Okay, gotcha.
and
Imagine if that was the
yeah,
through
like
line of all these animes.
like they're pretty much able to like freely fly around as long as they're inside of the, I guess, that anti-gravity space, and they use a bunch of really cool like acrobatics to get into the monster's weak points and stab them, and blood gushes everywhere. Well, green blood gushes everywhere. That is also used as fuel, and they harvest the animals. It's like a self-sustaining economy as long as, I mean, yeah, ecosystem, or I guess just system, as long as they keep killing these monsters. And the girl just wants to rid the world of these Gadals, and yeah, that's pretty much it. That's kind of like the premise as a whole. You have this guy that she was sent to janitorial duty because since she didn't have an arm, they didn't see that. They decided that she wasn't good enough to be a warrior, and lo and behold, this janitor dude ended up being, I guess, like the most badass hunter of all of them. He was just kind of retired and didn't want to do battle again. And that's kind of where I guess, the premise begins. Now, if you plan on watching this, I'm gonna give you a warning, and this will be like this, like that was the end of the spoiler-free zone. Like now, I'm gonna go into spoiler territory. So just jump back onto the next timestamp, I guess, in whatever order it is, because the first episode lays down all that groundwork, but then it takes a really unexpected turn, which is kind of the main reason why I'm like very invested in it right now, just because it's just so different. Um, do you, but I mean, it's not something that will. I guess knowing about it may. This is the kind of thing that you'll either be like, oh wow, this is pretty interesting. I want to see where this goes, or you might just be like, oh, this just got stupid. I don't like it anymore.
Hmm.
So, it's yeah, but it's definitely like a what the hell. So essentially, you find out after the first episode that not everything is what it seems, of course, but you
As
find out that,
always.
yeah, and you find out that everything is a game. Like, it turns
Hmm.
out
Hmm.
that, like, and at first I'm like, wait, so we're just watching people play out the scenario? Kind of like, it's kind of a big trend right now in a lot of anime, or maybe to a fault. There's just so many, I think they're called, what are they called? Um, something Kai, but essentially,
Like
person
a
gets
short
sucked.
art line kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
sort of online. The
There's like a new
Konosuba.
level. Yeah.
Yeah, there's with Sword Hero. There's so many. It's kind of That time I got reincarnated as a slime. That's an actual title for a show.
Hmm.
And yeah, so you think it's going in that direction, but then it turns out it's not either. So let me try to explain this to the best that I can. So essentially, everything I've said so far is true. So humanity is all but extinct except for the ones on this fortress. The only difference is that some of the population of people that we thought were people are actually just, I guess, giant, I guess I just host bodies that are being controlled by these tiny little chibi looking, I guess, computer programs.
Avatars,
So,
kind of.
yeah, so like, yeah. And these tiny little computer people, I guess, live in this cybernetic city, I guess, inside of the fortress. And they're pretty much like a whole sustained ecosystem. They're pretty much living life how they want. And to them, this fortress and everything about it is their form of entertainment. So they actually have
Oh.
these, I guess, higher ups that are creating these Godzillas and monsters. And yeah, so like they pretty much inhabit these, I guess, host human looking bodies so that they can then go out and fight them, while I guess not necessarily caring for whether the humans survive or not, because that's not part of their deal. But everything is kind of set up for them like a game. Like they set up like big events coming up, and the only reason that guy was retired was because he was told to be retired for a couple of years so that they could bring him back in a triumphant return. And also because he kind of got in trouble helping someone, I guess, go beyond their limit, which is pretty much the equivalent of sports enhancement drugs. And yeah, so he was kind of put on forced leave for a while until he comes back. So it's just kind of weird how it has like, I guess, what could be the premise of two different shows going on, because it could have just followed like the game world of this little chibi dude, but at the same time you're also following the real struggles of this actual character that actually wants to rid the world of these creatures that she really has no hope of ever trying to get rid of. On top of the fact that that janitor guy character, his side job, because he's kind of forced to do this, is he has to go hunt and kill defective other renegade programs that that aren't really following their code or any kind of bug or imperfection. And you find out that the girl is someone that he has to go and kill. So there's that whole dichotomy of he wants to help her, but he also has to get rid of her. So how does that work? I don't know. It's just very different, and it's just very interesting. I mean, I feel it definitely shares a lot of DNA with Attack on Titan, because there is that whole kind of like the Titans, they're not quite what they seem. This humanity kind of surviving on the brink of existence, but that one kind of involves, they're both actually more similar than I thought, except it seems more hopeless for this situation, just because
this seems more hopeless than Attack on Titan.
It feels more hopeless for the humans, just because.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
it
feels
still.
Like, at least in Attack on Titan, they have, those Titan powers they can go back on. At least, like, the ones that the good guys have. They have, like, Levi and everything.
Yes.
Like, literally, everyone is, like, against the humans. Like, they're kind of just, like, they're pretty much, like, cattle to these people at this point.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And they don't even know any of that is going on. Like, they're the only people that actually fight the monsters are other programs. So there's, like, maybe, like, a handful of actual human warriors, but yeah, they actually have to worry about dying, and the other ones could just keep dying and keep like regenerating over and over again. So
it sounds like there's some shades of like, I mean, not 1-to-1, but there's some stuff reminiscent of Tron in how you're describing it, like programs fighting other programs, and it's like the inverse because the humans go into the programs and this seems more like the programs control the humans. But like there's some parallels there, which has me kind of intrigued because I like Tron.
Yeah, it's definitely an inverse. Yeah, programs controlling the humans, and the plot just keeps thickening. Like the last episode that I saw, like the main program that I thought was just a program, I guess he made his way out, and we find out that like the whole world is inhabited by these monsters that they've been like developing for a long time. And I don't know, it's interesting. It's just definitely, it's more traditional in the action and fantasy kind of sense, but it's also, it just has a new intriguing plot that I feel like I just have no idea where it's going, and I'm just really curious to find out. Kind of like Attack on Titan, like that one always like had, as the plot developed, it always kept shifting. Like first you thought it was just, oh, it's like zombies, but they're giants now, but then it turns out it's way more political than it seems. And yeah, I would definitely recommend it, especially right now while it's still airing and we don't know if it's going to end up being bad or good. But I mean, I've heard, just like looking at the history of these looking at the history of these like director and writer, they've had things that both went really well with a lot of acclaim, and both had a very like also just bad endings. So we don't know how this is going to turn out. Maybe it's a sit and wait kind of deal, but I also the thought of just being able to keep up with a show as it's airing, especially animes, is always exciting to me. I definitely enjoyed watching Mob Psycho as it was airing. That was pretty cool.
That sounds cool, but I would love that I was able to binge it as well, though.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if there was like, if the first season would just be like 12 episodes and then I guess I'll take it from there.
For a little bit.
Do you?
Yeah.
Kevin, do you generally...
Seeing how everything is going, there's going to be so many...
Yeah, that's what everything's saying. I'm sorry,
Kevin,
Jason?
do you generally prefer binging all at once at the end of something versus watching it as it airs?
No, not necessarily. Like, I am watching this anime on Crunchyroll called The God of High School, and that's airing weekly.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, because some people are very
I-
set in their ways about like, oh, I gotta watch it all at once, or I have to watch it weekly, and they won't like,
Oh, yeah. No, that sounds cool. That I might check it out.
Yeah, really, definitely recommend it. Definitely need more people to talk to about it.
Yeah, don't worry. I'll watch it just so we can talk about it. You know what? I'm not gonna make that promise because I'm also said that I watched Demon Slayer, so that I could talk to your brother about that, but that never happened.
Well,
So,
at least
on
that
episode
one
4.
we know it's still going, and I mean that one's been on hiatus for a while.
Yeah.
But
Attack on Titan's finally coming back from hiatus.
Wait, when?
You didn't see the season 4 trailer?
No.
Yeah, there's a season 4 trailer already. I think that's coming out this year.
Damn, that's awesome.
And then I don't know when My Hero's coming back. I don't think they've said. But I still haven't even finished season 4 of My Hero, so I don't know. There's now that I've gotten back into the anime world, there's a lot of stuff that I'm trying to watch. I'm still rewatching Bleach, which was a mistake. But
oh yeah, I mean that's the thing. There's just so many anime, and I love that there's still so many that I know I'll like that I've yet to watch. And sometimes I'm wondering, like, oh man, like I hope there's still more for me to like after, because sometimes you're afraid to watch something, and then like I don't know, like this is like after watching like Your Lie in April, like at least like not so much for like the content, but just like how it made me feel at the end. Just like how impactful that last episode was. It's like sometimes I wonder, like, man, am I ever gonna have the same feeling again? Like after watching an anime, like it's almost kind of like a little depressing because like you don't think you will, but maybe you will. Maybe there'll be another show out there. Hopefully. I mean, the show I'm watching now it's definitely not a depressing show, but it's definitely getting up there. Just really, really, really enjoying it.
feels wise.
I mean, yeah, somehow I made it 70-something episodes in, but almost done.
What's the name of that one?
Space Brothers. It's literally an anime about working at NASA.
Oh,
that sounds interesting.
Yeah, actually learned a lot. I mean, it's all like they reference a lot of real. I mean, it's literally based in real world everything, and it only takes a couple years in the future. The only fictitious thing about it is that they go to the moon a couple times already. It's like very regular for them to be able to go to the moon. But beside that, yeah, it's a very inspirational show. Made me appreciate space.
Is that
more on that once I finish it?
Is that the one you were telling me like they actually record dialogue in space or something?
Yeah, it's the first anime that recorded dialogue for an animated show in space, if not the only one.
Probably the only one.
Yeah, there's a segment where like kids are asking questions to astronauts, and the responses were actually recorded in space by an actual astronaut.
That's
which is
pretty
cool. And you could tell, like, you could tell the difference in audio quality. Not that it gets like worse, but like it just sounds very different.
That's a way to go, because they could have just put like a filter on it and just called it a day, but they actually
they actually had someone
actual audio from space.
That's impressive.
Cool.
That is dedication to your product.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And back to the wheel. Where it will land, nobody knows. The Killers... No.
They really want you to like that album.
Because it just landed on it again. There we go. Something new. Mike Shinoda's Dropped Frames.
It feels like I'm talking about his music today.
Jason joints.
Yeah. So
it's very music and anime heavy today.
Yeah, really. But yeah, so this is
Mike Shinoda's anime, right? Or his animated film, and
frames.
Then he dropped a couple frames.
That sounds like a good anime.
That actually could be an anime, and he does have
that title. I think I'm gonna steal it.
He does have an art background, so he did. One of his music videos is Mega Man inspired, anime inspired animated by him and a team thing. So he's not that far removed.
Well, breaking the habit was
yeah, it was full on. Yeah. And
was that the one that you're talking about?
No.
Really?
One he did for his last.
You never told me.
No, one he did for his solo album for Post Traumatic. He did it. There's a song on there called. Oh god, which one did he do the animated thing? He went to Anime Expo to show off the music video. Or like to show the behind the scenes that they're making. He did it with like an actual anime studio. I forgot which, but the song I'm forgetting too, but I talked to him afterwards about it a bit and like about his Nintendo inspirations for it, which was kind of cool. Like Metroid was one of the inspirations, other things. The song I'm thinking of though is Worlds on Fire. If anyone wants to look it up on YouTube. But yeah, no, the reason
so what other music videos are animated? Like I didn't know How Could You Be So Heartless was an animated music video.
You mean Kanye's Heartless? Yeah, okay, Heartless. I mean,
Okay,
how could you be so heartless? Yeah, you know that song, and they just say like the whole lyric. But no, yeah, that one's animated, but in a style of like pop art, like old, like not quite Andy Warhol, but that era. But yeah,
it's in the end animated.
In the end is CG, really bad 90s CG, or I guess 2000, the year 2000. But they're standing on that platform and they're walking through a desert with like things sprouting, and it's all like it's CG. Have you never seen the In the End video?
No, I don't think I've ever seen any music. The only music video from any band that you would listen to, actually probably not even that. I don't watch very many music videos. Yeah. Like I think I could probably count them all on my hand. The only one I remember is Californication, just because
I've never seen that
video
one,
game related. What? The only one I've seen is like the one you have.
Yep. No,
it's like it jumps between like a bunch of different like game genres. Like it goes from like a third-person shooter to a snowboarding to like a helicopter to like a Grand Theft Auto looking thing, in that same kind of graphical style.
But yeah, I mean, like, yeah, a lot of bands have. Mike Shinoda and Linkin Park in particular have like kind of this close affinity with like a lot of stuff that we're all into, like anime, and like they have basically the cover for Reanimation is basically like a fake Gundam on it. And they used to do stuff. They made a Gundam. There's a Linkin Park Gundam in Japan you could have bought at one point. Like they're super.
And you didn't do that?
No, but they're super like intertwined with that, and that's kind of what's interesting about this album. Why I want to talk about it is so Mike Shinoda has released what he's calling Drop Frames. There's 2 out of 3 already released, and they are mostly instrumental albums, but they are made collaboratively with fans on Twitch every day. He goes on Twitch. Actually, I think he's on a break this week, but every day up till now, since quarantine started, he went on Twitch and would just make music. And Twitch, it's interesting because Twitch obviously used to be a gaming thing, and Kevin, you can talk about this a lot better than I can, but it's expanded into like there's music making, there's all sorts of like art, like people are streaming all sorts of stuff on there now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's much like there's like kind of like your slice animes. Like some people are just like showing off what they do in life. Like it's expanding beyond it. So like
yeah, people do travel streams where they're just going around the world.
And it's funny because like originally, if I remember correctly, it wasn't Twitch. It started as Justin.tv, right? And it used to be a live stream your life platform, and then it pivoted to gaming, and now it's kind of going back to its original form. Slowly but surely, but with the built-in audience this time. Like, it was ahead of its time, I guess. But so what's interesting with what Shinoda's doing is he's doing these daily streams that used to be he would just show people how to make music, but then, like, he would engage with the chat and start to sort of bounce ideas off them, and then he started introducing ways for people to recommend music. Or to recommend genres of what he should make, and it started getting weird. So, like, what he would do is he introduced, like, a whole currency of sorts called Shinoda Bucks, which is a dumb name. But basically, you pay to get, emotes and all that money goes to COVID charity fundraising for relief for COVID. And then he would get, like, all these weird suggestions from fans, and whoever paid in and won the bid that day would be able to help him pick out what genres. I think it's a mix of they could request things directly, or they could put a genre into like a fishbowl, and he would draw multiple genres out of a hat every day, or out of a bowl, I guess, and mash up genres. So like literally one of the songs on the first one is what he dubbed mariachi hip hop. And then there's another one which is horror hip hop. There's another one which is like Bollywood goth or something. And like these songs, they sound kind of like they'd be super scattershot. But what he basically does is he takes the 10 or 12 best from a given period of time in his Twitch streams, and he masters them and mixes them himself and then puts them out. He's doing it as an independent release as this Dropped Frames like finished product that you could go stream online or get merch for on his website or whatever. And it's like basically it only exists because fans are putting in these requests. So, and as he's editing the songs and going through it on Twitch every day, where he spends, I don't know, maybe like an hour to 3 hours depending on the song, he'll like be doing it with fans, explaining what he's doing, walking them through the tools, and also collecting their feedback and tweaking the song based on what that small core group of fans are suggesting and vibing with and that sort of thing. So it's literally like a collaborative album with his fans, and then he just kind of picks the cream of the crop and puts it out in an official capacity. And it's so much so, one of the songs, the only song with vocals, he actually has 7 fans on the chorus with him. He did like a contest. He had the song before he even started doing this, but he retrofitted it and released it officially and like did a contest where fans could submit singing along to the chorus and doing like the bridge and stuff. And he sort of melded that all together and then hopped on a video chat with all of them and kind of sorted it all out and then made like a whole song with fans, which is kind of cool. Like it's a good way to stay connected. It kind of goes back to what we were saying earlier about like how music's like so weird now because of COVID, like, you know, like the Weeknd's weird virtual concert. Like, one interesting way to make music and kind of keep yourself busy and give yourself a daily routine, but also engage fans in a way that like not a ton of artists do or can do or have ever tried to do because there wasn't really a need. Like you could just make stuff and go perform it, but now you can't perform it. So what if you like make the music making process the performance in and of itself in a way, which I thought is kind of an interesting approach. So that's kind of, and it all comes out really well. That's the thing, is like it makes great background music when I'm working. Like I'm lucky that my setup here at home, like I have a Sonos in the room I'm in where I do work and where I record this. So I could just stream it from my Mac to that and just like, it's great. It's perfect. It's, and it's like each album's like half an hour long and they're pretty diverse. There's also a lot of video game stuff in there. Like he has a Game Boy that he can do chiptune stuff with, which he's done a few times. The second Dropped Frames has 2 tracks that are straight up like video game tunes. One's literally called Side Scroller and the other is called Dungeon Crawler. And he also just the other week composed in the same format as everything else the Gamescom opening night live theme that Jeff Keighley's going to use for when he does his show next week. So like there is definitely some cool synergy here between like all of our interests and what Shinoda's doing. And even the art for the album, he'll do like art days where instead of making music, he'll do drawings and take fan requests and kind of integrate them. And then he puts them out as black and white on his Instagram and on Twitter in like high resolution, so fans can go color them, and then he like shows some of his favorite like interpretations and colorings and what sort of thing. And that's
he's really gotten wrapped up in like Twitch culture.
Yeah,
which I like.
Yeah,
I like that a lot more artists are doing that. Mike's doing it, obviously. Mm-hmm. T-Pain has been on Twitch for a while now. Mm-hmm. Soulja Boy, a lot of people has started gaining momentum on Twitch. It's really interesting.
Really? Is he still trying to peddle counterfeit consoles, or has he moved past that?
I don't think so. Now he's just playing RuneScape on stream.
I know. Was it Logic who gave up his rap career to stream video games? Did you like? He claims he's retired from rap.
Logic has I guess Twitch offered Logic some contract to exclusively just stream on Twitch.
That whole world of exclusive contracts for streaming is so interesting. Like Mixer started it, right, with like Ninja. Yeah, Mixer, and then of course Mixer then went belly up, and now all those people are kind of coming back to Twitch. But like once that, it reminds me so much of remember when Tidal first came out and every album was like exclusive to a streaming platform, and everyone's like, this is weird. And then over time it kind of dissipated. I feel like we just went through that wave with streamers,
streaming platforms.
Yeah, but yeah, it's really interesting to see like how, and I think COVID was sort of a catalyst for us, but it's really interesting to see like how artists are finding these new ways to connect and like do stuff. Because you know, like T-Pain, for example, like he's probably opening himself up to a whole new audience of people who maybe, you know, younger kids who maybe weren't around when T-Pain was number 1 on the charts, when everyone was collaborating with him, but now he can like have this crowd and do his thing with them. Or even Mike Shinoda, like, you know, like we were saying before, Linkin Park's 20 years old. Like, I'm sure there's kids today who are discovering it through Twitch because Twitch is co-promoting it and stuff, and might be kind of into it, and then might go look at his discography and kind of work their way backwards. So it's even just to market themselves to new fans is kind of a smart strategy. But yeah, and it's been really cool because like I used to at the start of quarantine, a little less now because like memes and stuff got in the way, but I used to like be pretty good about tuning into his streams every day, and there were definitely some where I'd be like I wasn't engaging or anything because I had work to do, but I'd have it in the background and hear him and everything. And it was kind of nice when he first like, oh yeah, I'm gonna actually release these. Be like, oh finally, I can actually listen to this on demand and not have to go like through the Twitch archive and like jump to the timestamp of like 2 hours and 20 minutes for that 2-minute song. So yeah, it's been cool even as a fan to just have it in like a packaged form where I can just listen as I want. So yeah, so that's kind of why I wanted to mention was just that because I think it is like I was saying a really interesting change up from what like you know like music goes through these phases where it's different ways they engage. Like they have street teams in the early 2000s, and then like the whole like fan armies and streaming wars, and now this is and you know they could talk to them on Twitter and like all the you know, the little monsters, Lady Gaga, can maybe get retweeted by her or something, but now it's like, or the Beliebers, but now it's like an actual real conversation in real time happening.
Yeah, there's natural back and forth.
Yeah, and that's what's really cool. And it's to the point where it's literally influencing the music. Like, he doesn't know when he starts these streams what the song's going to turn into. He doesn't have it pre-planned. Sometimes he'll have some instruments selected ahead of time or some soundboard stuff. But more often than not, what it turns into is nowhere near what he probably thought would be at the start, which makes it like really cool because it's legitimately collaborative. So anyway, yeah. Cool. So that's Mike Shinoda's Dropped Frames. If you need some instrumentals that are kind of all over the map, but also like consistently good, check it out.
If it's on Spotify, I will.
It is. And I think the third one, he's doing one a month, so the third one should be out pretty soon, probably a couple weeks.
Oh. Cool.
Yeah.
Aren't you a happy camper?
I sure am. And then in the midst of that, the Linkin Park 20th anniversary. So much Linkin Park stuff. I'm so happy. Anyway. So happy.
Rest in peace, Chester.
Well, yeah.
And I was about to say, what a time to be alive. And then you say,
oof. That would have been bad.
All right. And the wheel is getting spun right now. All right, let's see what well, you guys can't see. Oh my God, no!
The Killers.
I'm just gonna.
Yes.
I'm just gonna remove it from the wheel.
No, you have to keep it. You have to.
Nope,
now.
it's gone. It's gone.
I mean, I thought you were removing the options. That
no, that makes it all the better.
You think that I have this planned out? Come on. Brian,
you think
David
he put
Gilbert's
the Killers on there
Unraveled.
4 times, and every time he spun it, it just came back.
Yeah. All right. Cool. This is actually my category. So. Yeah, I want to talk about Polygon's YouTube series Unraveled.
I forgot to check Dante's HP. I'll do that.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, I'll report it next week.
Have either of you seen these videos?
Yeah,
I think I've watched all of them.
I've
so far.
seen the Waluigi one.
You've watched all of them?
Yeah.
Angel?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and the Poker Rap.
Okay.
Does that count? Is that Unraveled, the Poker Rap?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've seen Poker Rap, Making of, and
Bowser's military hierarchy.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that one, but I definitely need to check
the
that
Mega
out.
Man sentient scale.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Anyway.
There's so much to talk about here. Yeah. I brought it up in the last episode of QC and thought, hey, that could be a good thing to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
But, so it's a video series on YouTube. It's hosted by Brian David Gilbert, who I believe used to be a YouTuber, or he's still a YouTuber.
His name is made up of 3 first names. That's crazy.
Brian David
It's like
Gilbert.
Ricky Bobby plus 1, literally.
Yeah. He
Someone did the
graduated with a
last name.
bachelor's.
What?
He graduated with a bachelor's in creative writing, which definitely contributes to
that explains a lot.
Yeah, right. But
How
anyways,
did one graduate in that? Not creative enough.
Creative
Try
writing?
again.
Yeah, that's weird, huh?
It's like I'm sure there's more to it than just it being. I have no idea. It's like
he
I don't know.
Anyway. He graduated from Johns Hopkins, which I don't know if is that a top school?
It's a big enough school that's the leading source of the current number of COVID cases in America. The leading independent source.
Okay, well, we'll just sweep that under the rug.
I think I heard its name at some
my
point.
My point is, it's a big, well-known, yeah.
Okay, that works for me. But anyways, in Polygon's words, the description is Brian David Gilbert tries to unravel game lore without losing his grip on reality, which I think is pretty. Like at first read, it sounds like an interesting video series, something akin to what like MatPat does with his game theory series. Mm-hmm. But as you both know, it's so much more than that, and I feel like very few of the I think at this point there's like 26 videos. they have very little to do with game lore itself. It's more like he uses game lore to create these crazy irreverent videos.
Yeah.
And like these videos are supposed to be humorous and not educational like other lore series on YouTube. For example, like you could find a billion videos on like the history of Dark Soul bosses. But Brian David Gilbert goes
or the science
above and
behind
beyond.
X and so blah 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 gun or something.
Yeah, right.
He's
But Brian
like
David Gilbert says.
Or go ahead.
Brian David Gilbert instead goes, "Yeah, I can make a video on the history of these bosses, but what if I rank them by, like, who would be a better manager at a job?"
Yeah,
which is
he's the left brain version of all the kind of right brain Matt Pats of the world. To kind of say what you already said. Which, by the way, I keep running back before COVID. I kept running into Matt Pat at a Rubio's near my office like 3 times.
And the Chipotle.
That's right. You were with me that time. Yeah. I don't know what.
Did you ever say hi?
No. But he's always with like a group. He's always wearing like a cool leather jacket. I'm always like, oh. But
yeah, the leather jacket, it feels like his thing now.
Yeah, but he wears it like in life is my point. Like he doesn't just wear it on the videos. He's just like out in the world eating burritos wearing a jacket like that. Yeah.
Right.
But anyway, sorry. I just when you said Matt Pat, like I need to wiggle this in somehow, and I succeeded.
No worries.
Yeah, I saw him at that one Nintendo event.
Yeah, well, it's funny because the first time when Angel and I first saw him, the very first time, it was like the day after he did the Stadia launch at GDC, or like the next week or something. So it was like probably when he was at his most like exposed to mainstream audience and media moment. But yeah, and yes, we saw him at a Nintendo event a couple times. Yeah, I've seen a lot of Matt Pat actually. Now that I think about it. Weird.
Yeah, well, speaking of Nintendo, I'm about to talk about specifically his 2 of his many Nintendo videos. So the first episode in the series is titled "Solving the Zelda Timeline in 15 Minutes." Now, at first glance, it seems like a pretty easy idea to make into a YouTube video.
Mm-hmm.
Like Nintendo has its own official canon. Just recite what's on there. You're done. You got a video. Bada bing, bada boom. But nope. Brian also decided to incorporate every single piece of Zelda media into the timeline. So, while like on the lighter side, he includes stuff like Twilight Princess Picross, which I didn't even know was a thing.
Oh yeah, my Nintendo exclusive reward.
Yeah, and like crossbow training in like the Young Link timeline. Obviously, those are Twilight Princess games, like in that timeline. And then
Zelda Clue,
Wand of Gamelon.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that. Yeah, he like even includes those god awful, the Philips CDI games, which sure, but then he also includes like the Smash series, and it's funny because like in his mind, or I guess it makes sense, but like Melee takes place at the same time as Ocarina because Young Link and Adult Link are there, right? That makes sense.
That does make sense.
Yeah, and then like I'm not saying they're good reasons why these games should be put anywhere on the timeline, but like he's funny enough that you don't even care.
Oh yeah.
And like eventually the like Angel pointed out with Zelda Clue, it eventually evolves into him putting dumb stuff like the Zelda Choose Your Own Adventure books in there, and he gives his own explanation as to where these books should be and how those books create even like more timelines. He includes the board games, so like even Zelda Chess, and he definitely towards the end he definitely devolves into like madness because eventually it all enwraps the timelines in his mind. They all like get enraptured in capitalism, and it's like, okay, that means that the Zelda monopoly is what holds all the timelines together. One of his most recent episodes, he was trying to figure out when Mario could retire, and he actually used the help of a financial accountant to see if it was even possible. And so like he used a set of variables like when you expect to, in his words, croak, inflation rates, Mario's monthly budget, pensions, and like conversion rates of a Mushroom Kingdom coin. And he actually created a formula for it. And using those numbers, he like learns that Mario wouldn't be able to retire ever. So he desperately tries to get that number lower. And at some point he finds out that like, wow, Mario isn't going to be able to retire until he's 77 years old, which is the average life expectancy for males. So Brian says, you know what? No, let me use my numbers, like how much I get paid, how much I save. And then Brian slowly comes to the realization that he himself will never be able to retire. Which is like definitely sad for him, but like for us, the viewers, it's the funniest thing ever.
Yeah.
The series is just so inventive, and it's amazing how he uses game lore for like the most ridiculous reasons. Like, Jason, do you have a pet?
Do I have a pet?
Do you have a pet?
I do not have a pet.
Does Rara have a pet?
Yeah, for those who wondering who that is, yes, she has 3 cats, 2 kittens and a cat.
3 cats. Well, did you know that you can calculate their HP using a formula that he created using Pokemon health points and old D&D books?
Please send me a link. I need to do this. Yes. Well, the 2 kittens are literally right now 4 months old, 3 months old. So
right.
Now's the prime time to figure out their entire life expectancy.
Yeah, exactly. And then he was like, in the same video, he says something along the lines of like, yeah, I can also give you guys the formula to calculate the HP of humans, but I don't want that to go to insurance companies because it would just be used for evil. He has an entire video on how to like up your stamina using Angel would know this stuff that Kojima does in Death Stranding by using like Monster energy drinks to
that's amazing.
Do you think like the way people up their stamina in video games, if it also applies to the real world, so like eating steaks?
I think. Think the one was it considered part of his Unraveled series, the Waluigi one, like why Waluigi doesn't have his own game.
That episode was literally just called Waluigi Unraveled,
and like it got to the point, if I remember correctly, it became a desperate plea to Doug Bowser, new at the time president of Nintendo America, that they need to give Waluigi a game, and Doug Bowser responded on Twitter to it. Mm-hmm. And he gave like a non-answer, of course, but he did respond. Like it made its impact. And it's an incredibly well done video. They all are.
Yeah, they all are. That brings me to like another point. Like the editing for the videos, I feel is like it's low budget, but it's crazy enough to work. Like he literally just is. It's him in front of like 3 cameras, different angles, obviously, and then just a wall behind him that he just like has paper and push pins to connect everything together. It's just so wildly inventive. Like looking at some of the names, let me see, like find your Kojima name with my simple 11-page form. I use The Sims to perfect my apartment. I built the perfect gamer space. The most recent,
that's funny.
Yeah, the most recent video. I read every Halo novel and became the Master Chief of Loneliness. It just, man, I love this series. I don't think it's over, but man, I
mean, he's been doing this from home, so hopefully.
Yeah, and that's the other thing I want to talk about. Yeah, like he's had to update. He's had to like up, like the effects of the videos because he's been doing it from home. I forgot what episode it was where he was like pointing to like he's using a green screen at home. It's like, as you can see here on the timeline, and he's like, I really hope that I'm pointing in the right direction for the video. I don't know. It's just
he's really good, and he's super deadpan, which makes it work.
Oh yeah, that's
what really makes it work. Is he's acting as if it's the most serious, sincere. There's no humor in this, and as it unravels and gets more absurd, he holds that note, so to speak, and that's
like he'll break character every now and then.
Yeah, but rarely.
But rarely.
And when he does break character, it's not so much at the it's kind of at the absurdity of what's happening, but it's more at the ridiculousness of what he's put himself into than how he got there. Like it's not like I feel like when he breaks character, it's never like I can't believe we got here. It's more like, well, this situation's ridiculous, but not like anything that led to it. Just that moment is. Like, he never addresses that, you know what I mean? Like, he never addresses that he brought himself to this through the ridiculousness.
Yeah, that video. There is one exception. The video where he made all 78 Breath of the Wild recipes in one day.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I guess made in a very loose definition of made, considering that he had to like speed up half those recipes. But no, yeah, I love the series. I think he's great. The videos are always hilarious, and they're not that long. They usually average like 15 minutes.
Yeah, they're good YouTube length.
Yeah,
just enough to get monetized.
It's a good series. yeah, right.
Also, I checked. Doug Bowser sent him back a purple heart for the Waluigi video. So,
very non-answer.
Yeah, and a applause emoji. So,
yeah.
I don't know why, but you talking about Brian David Gilbert reminded me of some other guy that was popular on the internet for a while. I'm trying to remember his name. He was on Game Trailers though. Definitely
Kyle Bossman.
There you go, the final Bossman.
Yep.
I don't really remember what he did for his show. I just know
it was
very simple.
He just did analysis. He did like almost the kind of business side analysis that we always do on Ram Nintendo, but he just did it in a very digestible way that had some kind of like character to it, where he sort of would like get super into the topic to the point of like almost like overly obsessive. I think that's what it was. I think that's what it was.
I know I watched them, but I don't remember their content.
And now, so he isn't as much. He was on, I think he was part of Easy Allies for a while, and he stopped doing that. And he's a writer for the Game Awards, and he works pretty closely with Jeff Keighley. And I think he just left Easy Allies, actually. So he probably will be starting up something new soon. But he's like one of those like gaming personalities, yeah.
Oh, I see.
But yeah, he does a lot of the behind the scenes writing for the Game Awards. Like most of the jokes and stuff are him. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's Brian David Gilbert
and Kyle Bossman.
The way that I got to remember his name is it's just BDG. It's they're in order. BDG.
Huh.
Oh,
you're right. They are.
Yeah, and that's all I got for Unraveled. There's only one more thing on the docket.
You gotta spin the wheel, though. You gotta see if it lands on Killers again.
But I'm gonna spin the wheel until we get it, baby.
Welcome to the Vegas portion of the evening.
Yeah, there's a chance we could be here all night.
Yep.
Deca-Dence again.
This is quality content that people tune in for.
A third time.
Really? Is Killers still on there? Or did you actually take it off?
No, I put it back on.
Good.
Oh, drop frames. Oh. Nope. Deca-Dence again. Oh. Hey, the end of Kissanime.
Alright, the end of Kiss. So this isn't really a topic so much for me. It's just kind of like a question for everybody here. So, for those that don't know, Kissanime is essentially your watch cartoons online. And for those that don't know what that is, it's pretty much your go-to place online to illegally stream your cartoons or anime.
Which we do not endorse or condone at the Ram Nintendo podcast.
Yeah. and I understand, like, I definitely like use those stuff. I remember like in college or maybe like a little bit after, but I think like as soon as like things stabilized, there was just a point where I just started only doing things through subscriptions. And like I know like I've now been paying for Crunchyroll for like a bunch of years, and like most moderns, like most I guess modern civilizations now, we do like an exchange of sorts to get services. So like I needed Funimation, so like I help out Kevin with Crunchyroll, and there's other ways that like with Netflix. Except how do I help my sister with Netflix? I guess I don't. But
it's a barter system until you just take advantage of the other person.
Yeah, essentially. I mean, like if I really do like something, like I'll just like buy it on Blu-ray or some sort of format. Like essentially, over the last I want to say last decade, I've definitely just been like just trying to support the things I like, essentially, like in whatever way, even if it's minimal. Like nothing against like people that like go to Kissanime or Crunchy or watch cartoons online. Like I honestly like that's perfectly fine. But
although we don't endorse or condone it at the Ram Nintendo podcast, continue.
Yeah,
Just putting
but
our legal disclaimers.
but as someone that like obviously like did use it a lot like back in the day. I mean, I think that's how I watched like Naruto and stuff. Just hearing that it closed down or it's like done. I don't know. I guess it's just kind of like interesting because like I know like a lot of high schoolers and like I wonder where they're gonna go for a lot of their anime because it does. Crunchyroll does exist, but it does kind of suck that I guess like a lot of TV shows now, like now you can't even get all of anime in just one hub. There's like I mentioned
Yeah.
earlier, like you have to go to Funimation to watch Deca-Dence. You have to go to Netflix to watch like Neon Genesis Evangelion. You have to go to High Dive to watch certain animes, but I'm not going to bother with High Dive. Like, and each one is growing so much. Like Netflix is actually getting or has been getting a couple of really interesting animes that I'm like, dang, I wish this was just on Crunchyroll because I do kind of like Crunchyroll setup a little more than Netflix is. Maybe because it's literally just anime, so it's easier to find what I want because I just want to watch some anime.
Well, isn't it Korean dramas too?
Oh yeah, it also does have Korean
Wait,
dramas. It also has some
when
manga.
did Crunchyroll start having Korean dramas?
I think it always
It's
had
had-
them.
Oh, really?
It's had it as far as I can remember. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
But, and I mean, like, it does seem like, yeah, more people nowadays do have Netflix or have some way of getting Netflix, but, yeah, like, I mean, like, did you guys ever watch Kissanime or watch cartoons or any of your, like, I guess, streaming movie stuff, or?
Unlike an illegal streaming service.
Yeah.
Are you a cop?
I have to tell you if I am.
Yeah, narc.
Yeah, are you wearing a wire? You're getting us on record discussing illegal activity. Well, let me tell you about the time I robbed a bank. I was wearing a mask. It was on October 25th, 1998. I was only 9 years old. Occasionally for movies, but usually I wasn't the one doing it. It'd be like we were in a group setting and someone would be like, oh, I know a website like Popcorn Time or whatever it was called, and we'd go there. But
I guess a better question is, do you think this will have a negative or positive impact, at least on Western anime, at least like on Western consumption of anime? Because I feel like a lot of people that were using Kissanime were obviously like not interested in paying for a subscription service, so they may just not even bother.
I think it's the bigger. I think it's
I mean, it's
interesting.
almost better if one of those services just goes like, you know what, we just gotta invest in more anime, but it does cost money. It's really expensive. Like, and animators in Japan are really underpaid, so it does kind of suck.
Well, I think you're hitting the nail on the head of a bigger issue here, which is so piracy exists because it's kind of a crossroad of things of cost and convenience, right? So if you can give someone enough convenience at low enough cost, they'll do it. If you can give someone, that's pretty much it. If you can give them but if you start jacking up the price or making it less convenient by splintering the content, people will fall back. Like, I would not be surprised if the more
Crunchyroll's like $50 a year. That's nothing for how much.
But then like some of it's on Funimation, some of it's over here, some of it's over there.
You're right. Yeah, but yeah, for the convenience.
I think it's it's not just the convenience. If you're paying for 5 different streaming services, this goes back to the whole thing we were talking about when HBO Max was first rolling out. Like, if you go back to all these different streaming services, you lose that again, crossroad of cost and convenience because people are paying too much and they have to go dig around and find this stuff. You can't just say, I'm going to Netflix and everything's there. Oh, I want my TV shows a day later. That's on Hulu. Now it's, I'm going to Netflix and there's a bunch of stuff there, but also there's stuff on Disney Plus and there's stuff on HBO Max and there's stuff on Peacock. And then if I want my next day, it's on Hulu, but it's also on Peacock. If I want Disney Plus, okay, that's cool. But if I want the adult content, quote unquote, above PG-13, I also need Hulu. But what if I want sports? Well, Hulu has live sports, but ESPN Plus is a separate live sport, full sport package. But I can't get all three of those together. Disney, Hulu, and ESPN under the Disney bundle for $15. Well, that's reasonable. But if I'm spending those $15, am I spending $15 on HBO Max? Maybe not. Am I spending $15 on Crunchyroll plus Funimation plus 2 others? I don't know. Like, the fact that I was able to rattle off all those scenarios for a solid, what was that, like 35, 40 seconds? That might be too many. That might be too many services already.
It's the same with anime. You have Funimation, you have Crunchyroll, Netflix has their own stuff.
High
Amazon has their
Dive.
own stuff. High Dive.
Yeah, and that's
VRV.
And keep in mind, just because people watch anime, they're not only watching anime. So you have to factor in they have the 5 or 6 anime services. You have the 5 or 6 mainstream services. There is some overlap. You mentioned Netflix, Amazon, but then factor in, let's say, if you want the
Good thing Peacock is free.
Yeah, on some level for some content. But let's say then you want some of the more niche stuff. Like there's is it Thriller? I forgot what's not Thriller. There's like a horror movie. Shudder. Yeah. So if you want horror movies, you get that. Criterion Collection's another one. It keeps growing exponentially. And the thing I think that's gonna happen, to your point about like anime adoption here in the West, is people are gonna want to watch what they're gonna want to watch. And the reason piracy took off is because you either watched it linear. You watched it in linear TV where it would air when it would air. I couldn't think of the word linearly on TV, or you have to hopefully find it on a streaming service, or hopefully find it on like iTunes Store or something and buy it for like $20, or you just go find it on like Kissanime or something, and that's easy. It's on your time, at your convenience, and at a price you are comfortable with, free. As these streaming services keep multiplying, you don't have the linear TV aspect, but you absolutely still have the I don't want to spend 40 minutes hunting down a copy and then subscribing to 6 different services just to maybe have it, when I can also just go to Kissanime and do it. So I don't think people are going to not watch stuff. I think they're just going to go back to their old ways. If that answers that's my opinion, at least. I think exposure, I think people that subscribe to services anyway can be exposed to new shows and find them that way, but I don't think that people are if they want to check out an anime because their friend said check out an anime, if they want to watch people reach up inside each other to grab their desire orbs or dive into each other or whatever because their friend says it's worth watching, they'll find a way to do it. They might go to the shadiest of websites to do it if they don't want to have to sign up for Crunchyroll just to do it, but they will do it. So I don't think it's going to necessarily hurt adoption in the same way anime continued to grow when it was only on Toonami and for purchase for $20 or $30.
When Kissanime died, and it was trending on Twitter, if you just went through the trending tab, there was a lot of people posting alternatives to Kissanime. Yeah. So.
Oh wow!
I feel like
it's like a drop in the bucket at this point.
I think of it this way: much. It's remember when Napster was a thing?
I didn't even know there were other websites. I mean, that's kind of naive of me to assume there weren't.
Yeah, but think of it like how Napster, LimeWire, all those were a thing for a while, and then they all kind of fade away.
There you go.
And people started paying. A lot of people are I'll pay $10 a la carte for Spotify or Apple Music. That's fine, but you can also find a ton of websites that still have file sharing. You could go on Reddit and go to subreddits where people just share links to new songs. There are tons of blogs that literally, and I'm not endorsing this or anything, but there's tons of blogs where if you just Google a new album when it comes out and then put iTunes or AAC or M4A after it, it'll just take you to where you can go download a zip file of someone else's purchase of the iTunes song. It's still incredibly accessible if you want to do it, but in this day and age, how many people want to sit there and go through links and go through redirects and jump through hoops to get to a random file share site and download a zip file and unzip it when they can, in 10 seconds flat, open Spotify, open Apple Music and be playing it. So that's ultimately kind of the balance. And I think if anime, if people want to watch stuff, they'll watch stuff. It's just a matter of, where to go. So if it's not Kiss, it's going to be something else. If they're going to pay, they'll pay, but they'll find it. I'm off my soapbox now.
No, it's a good soapbox. Because I definitely, I don't think I will admit, I still to this day use not the most legal of sites to watch Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, but
that's a very specific. Is there an Arnold Schwarzenegger piracy website just for his movies?
No, but it definitely feels like it.
And if it exists, is it called allbehack.com? I'm sorry. I'm just gonna leave. That didn't even make sense. I'm just gonna leave.
That was episode 8
just
of
gonna,
the Quarantine
just rolling away in my desk chair here.
Yeah. I don't know. It's definitely like Jason said, the convenience factor that is going to have people search out for these alternative websites rather than having to pay for Crunchyroll.
Unless they prefer
just some
the
people
cost of
that are just cheap
Crunchyroll, in
out
which
there.
case there you go. But there'll always be
Yeah, absolutely.
people. It's not going to slow adoption, I guess, is my point. People will watch what they want to watch one way or another. Which is a lesson that maybe Mulan at $32 should take note of. Not everyone's going to pay that.
Did they drop the price?
No, it was going to be 30, or 36. Right.
They raised it.
36. Sorry.
Oh, they raised it.
I meant 36.
Disney just said, you know what? We know you're gonna pay for this.
Yeah, like I think
$2 more.
I legitimately think as we continue to see splintering and as we continue to see companies start to bundle their streaming services and basically make cable packages, but through the internet instead of through your cable line, piracy's gonna swing back up.
Angel, how much would you pay for? How much would you pay monthly for an anime service that just had the entire like collection? Everything on
anime?
Amazon, Netflix, Crunchyroll, Funimation. Yeah.
I guess $15 a month sounds fair. I don't know. If,
That sounds low.
I mean, like
For everything that Funimation does, for everything on Crunchyroll, Netflix.
I mean, considering I guess I don't really
Amazon.
watch. Is it because like if like realistically like a fair price, like I could see myself paying like at
What's the
most,
most? Yeah, at most.
At-
I guess at most.
at most 25. I feel like I'd feel comfortable paying somewhere between 20 and 25, maybe 30. But if I do that, actually no, I could see myself doing. I would say 30. 30 feels fair. Because then that'd probably be the only thing I do. If we are talking like the entire like anime library that's available for streaming, I literally wouldn't need to stream anything else.
I do have
and I
good news
probably
for
wouldn't
you.
want to for that price.
I do have good news for you on that front. There are rumblings that AT&T, who owns Warner Media, wants to sell Crunchyroll. And there are rumblings that Sony, who owns Funimation, wants to buy Crunchyroll. So they may be merging.
Haven't those rumors been out forever though?
Yeah, like a week ago. I don't know if...
No, not. I could have sworn that I heard this.
Really? I saw it resurface like a week ago. Maybe it was an old rumor that I just happened to stumble across.
Oh.
But nonetheless,
Yeah,
if there's any
that
truth to
makes
that,
life
that's
easier for
two
sure.
huge ones combining, and I guarantee it will not be $30.
Yeah, the only thing is like I feel like I don't know, like in a financially responsible economy for myself, like I definitely don't want to be paying $30 for a subscription right now if I'm still actively buying video games because those things are expensive and they feel like they're coming out in droves recently. Not on top of the fact that I also still like want to continue playing Final Fantasy 14, which is already going to be another $15 a month, and you know
Yeah,
there's
I have to
still
go through my
Hearthstone.
subscriptions and see what.
So
I've
it's
heard.
like
Oh man.
you kind of have to pick your poison, and also like I had a talk with my brother the other day where I was kind of having anxiety is not the right word because that's way too
Concerns?
extreme. It's more it's more like for some reason I felt like when I started a game I had to finish it soon, or I had to just finish it as soon as possible because I didn't want it to like
Be left on the wayside.
yeah, be left on the wayside and turn into like the backlog. And then, but then he just kind of just like bluntly asked me like, well, like what's your rush? Like, why? I mean, it would be nice just to like talk about the game with other people that played it around the time it came out, because that's when most people would have played it. But then just thinking more about it, like there really isn't a rush. I mean, I guess like who cares if it takes me a couple years,
Especially
if
right
not
now.
more. Yeah, like a couple years or more to beat, you know, like the Tales games. Like, I mean, we'll get to them when we get to them. We have a huge, even though it's like 4 games, I mean, in Tales and in how much time my brother and I even get to play them together, it's probably going to take us like a decade to get through them. And you know what? I guess I just came to accept that, you know what, that's fine. I haven't been playing Smash Brothers as much as before, even post-ban. So I think like I just have to develop a healthy game habit and just not be afraid of buying a new game, playing it for a while. I guess I have to not be afraid of busting a Jason.
I was about to say, welcome to
But-
my world. This is me to a T.
But-
I'm starting to go down that path, and it sucks.
But
Welcome,
the difference
everyone.
is
Welcome.
Ghost of Tsushima, I got to Act 2 and haven't touched it since.
the only difference is that I will, no matter what I'm playing, it's just I just always want to be consistently playing something. So no matter what, I'm always completing something, even if something else falls to the wayside. Eventually, if I do happen to get enough time on a game before the next one comes out that I beat it, I could immediately go back and start playing another one.
Well, I think
There are some exceptions though, and I know like once I get like over the halfway point of certain games, I just get way too invested, and then like they suddenly just like become the center of attention. Like that's just always been the case. Like I know once I get to like the end game of Dragon Quest XI, like who knows when I'll finish that. Like I know like maybe like the last like 8 to 10 hours of the game, like that's all I'm gonna do until I beat it. Just because I usually just get really into it, and sometimes I'll do like all-nighters and just finish it. But yeah, I guess now I'm just starting to worry less about completing it quickly and now just letting it take as long as it takes.
I think the first half of what you said is actually a really good point you raised, which is about basically time management. There is
Yeah, because there's also anime. Like, how am I going to balance a 100 episode anime and games?
Yeah, there's so much content right
and
now.
Movies. And this is just anime. This is still like freaking Western culture. I still haven't even finished watching Close Enough.
Yeah, no,
like
and here's the problem.
11.
Here's the problem. And this is
ridiculous.
This is something we talked about.
Here's how you do it. Here's how you do it.
Go ahead, Kevin.
I have a solution.
Yeah.
I have a solution.
You quit your job?
Get a second modder, Angel.
Multitask.
Get a second what?
Monitor.
A second modder.
Multitask.
That's how I've been doing it. I've been streaming anime on my second monitor and playing games on my first one. Unfortunately, with anime, you do have to watch them dubbed because there's no way that you're gonna have to.
Yeah, but a lot of the anime that I watched like never got dubs either.
No, but like honestly, like the thing you're saying, Angel, like this is, and I feel like we sort of touched on this when like Game Pass was first becoming a thing. Like back when we talked about even on the regular Nintendo, is like Nintendo at the end of the day always talks about how they're competing for people's time against everyone else. And I know that's something we've definitely talked about. Reggie said all the time, and you know, if you're playing,
the reason I don't get into Legos, like Legos are awesome, but
wait, what?
That's also the reason I don't even get into Legos because
yeah.
I mean,
but no, like
they're like an awesome concept, but like they take time.
Yeah,
I barely get to do my 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzles.
And the problem
freaking time
is with every more accessible piece of content, Xbox Game Pass now being the latest example, Apple Arcade being the latest example.
Just owning a PC makes
owning a PC and having Steam sales where you stock up on 20 games you'll probably never play is an example. But like, you know, because they're all on sale. This idea that like, you know, we only have so much finite time, but everyone's pumping out all this really good content, and you have to start picking and choosing, and it's going to cause other content to fall on the wayside in a detriment. Like, look at what Netflix is doing. They used to like greenlight a ton of shows, and they'd give them a chance and they grow. Like BoJack was a slow burn that became a big thing. Now they cancel things left and right because if they don't hit whatever threshold they need to hit, it's not worth their time. But it's going to be harder and harder for them to hit those necessary thresholds because everyone's going to get more and more splintered and niche and subsets of people that do more and more different things because everything is now like we're in the golden age of everything. So it's really hard to ensure like the audience size of like who watched like the Friends finale. There's no chance at all that there'll ever be an audience like that on TV. Game of Thrones is probably the last hurrah of something like that. Like the idea of like water cooler talk where everyone's like gathered around a single show is going to be so few and far between what used to be so standard because there's so many shows and so many things. Games are going to have to, and I know I made this point before, but like especially Apple Arcade where they pay out based on how much it's played, they're going to have to start doing the same psychological tricks as like free-to-plays except without the money. But all that like sort of gambling mentality stuff because they need to keep you engaged over you going and doing something else with your time because that's the way they get paid. So we're going to start seeing like a bit of homogenization of content. We're going to start seeing a lot more interesting, unique niche things probably fall to the wayside. It's going to be weird because everything, I don't think we've ever had so much stuff at our fingertips just ready to be engaged with, and yet not enough people on any one thing because there's just too much. It's like it's so diversified now. It's actually almost like a hindrance. Like Close Enough got renewed for a second season on HBO Max, which is awesome, but like is it like going to get a third season? Like, well, you know, what's going to happen in a year from now if some other cartoon comes along from some other creator? Is it going to steal the audience of Close Enough? There's only so many people that have time to watch both. Like, it's going to be much more cutthroat for individual properties and shows and games and whatever. Yeah. It's going to be weird.
I'm sure my Steam isn't as bad as other people's, but I say that I have 36 games installed. But I've only played 26 of them. And just looking through these, I know I've only beaten... Well, a lot of them are multiplayer games, but I know I've beaten maybe like 10 of them. But
that backlog is just going to get worse, my friend. I'm just gonna tell you now.
Mm.
I was
Yeah.
debating whether to buy Skyrim the other day, and I was like, I know I'm not going to
Wait, how do
touch
you not
this
already own
ever.
that on
Yeah, how
some
do you not have it on
platform?
like 7 different devices by now? It's on everything. It's literally on microwaves, I bet.
I just never bought it, and it was on sale for $15, and I was like, if I buy this, well, I know I'm never gonna play it. I'm not gonna install it. It's just gonna be in my log. But should I still buy it?
Just to say you have it?
Man, not even to impress who?
I don't know.
Oh yeah, I
You
bought
tell me.
Skyrim on PC.
You tell me.
I'm never touching that thing.
But yeah, and by the way, the whole content thing, another angle I didn't even think of. Think about how big and diverse the podcast market is now. I mean, we're one of them, but like everyone has a podcast. Every celebrity's getting a podcast. Like and those are long. We're at 2 hours on ours right now. Ours typically are that long. Like that's a huge time commitment for people. Thank you to everyone who's actually powering through this. Appreciate it. But no, seriously, like that's 2 hours that you're not spending watching a show, playing a game, building a puzzle, building Legos, whatever it is. It's media overload is frankly what it is.
I only played 74 hours of Left 4 Dead 2. Thought it was more. Guess not.
Yeah, well, unless we got more, I think that'll do it for this episode. Hey, look at that 2 hour mark.
Exactly.
Just hit. Let us know what you think about the podcast either in the comments or on our Twitter at randomnintendo.com. Subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, Google, Stitcher, TuneIn, or whatever other podcast app tickles your fancy.
Spotify.
On YouTube, we are randomnintendo.com. What? So who has Random Nintendo?
Some dude who had a picture of Luigi as his avatar, and the videos were like, look, I'm playing Luigi's Mansion. It was like 20 seconds long or something like that. I don't remember. It's a long time ago.
Buy it off of
We're
Strong Armor.
Listen, I want to strong arm a child.
When's the last time that they uploaded something?
I don't know. We might be able to steal it back, but at the time that we set up ours, it was taken. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, because I've been trying to get I forgot what handle on Twitter I was trying to get. I think it was just Kevin Gomez, like just entirely spelled out, not KVN Gomez. Mm-hmm. Follow me on Twitter. And that dude hasn't tweeted in forever. I remember Twitter saying that they were going to release some old handles. Some inactive accounts.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
So
but you kind of reach a point where like your identity is now the new account almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I feel like I wouldn't change if JSR opened up instead of JSR7. Follow me on Twitter. I wouldn't change it. Also, it looks like Random Nintendo might no longer exist on Twitter. It might be. I mean, on YouTube, we might be able to steal it. I will look into that. Wait, now that I've said it on air, someone's gonna steal it and hold it ransom and make us pay.
Go.
Well, now you just got to do it tonight.
I guess so.
Please do it.
There you go. That was Jason's. Angel is Weiro. At WEIRO_Big O.
There you go.
I always thought it was 0 for some reason. Like before getting to know
COVID?
you, I would see your I would see like your Twitter handle every now and then from your brother, and I was like, is that a 0 or is that no?
It's like a startle face. So it's like right?
Yeah, it's a little face.
Yeah, but it's like the startled eyes. So it's So you put emotion
that works. It could be interpreted in many ways.
That's how I interpret it.
And with that, Jason, take us out.
It's coming soon, Ram Nintendo, no com on YouTube.